everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Kickstarter Lookback. This is where I take a look at different Kickstarters that the Dice Tower has backed and, a couple years ago, and we take a look at what we think about them, if we've even received them at this point. So without further ado, let's jump into them. The first one here is the biggest one. In fact, this one I just got here, Frosthaven. This was originally scheduled, for March 2021. So, well, we all know all kinds of things that happened to make this late. It turned into a much bigger project than they, I think, originally said that it would be. That the box became bigger. They really worked hard with a foreteller, with different insert companies. So again, a lot of interesting things here. I have gotten it. I have played it a few times. I played through not quite a bit of it because there's so much of it. But I played it for several hours already. But I still have a lot more to take a look at with this game. So I'm curious to see how the whole thing works out. There's some very interesting parts to it so far. Although, again, if you don't like Gloomhaven, Frosthaven ain't going to change your mind. And if you like Gloomhaven, you're probably going to like Frosthaven. Frosthaven is Gloomhaven with more. So this came, and next year the miniatures thing is going to kick off for it. Here's the different characters, the easier to play Inox Drifter, the difficult to play Blink Blade, jumping all over the place, the Banner Spear, they're easier, they're about working with allies, the Death Walker, raising skeletons, or is that the Necromancer? It's one of those two. And then the other one deals with death. And then this one here, which has two different forms. This is the character I'm currently playing through the campaign, jumping back between two forms. They're very difficult to play. I'm like, let's try it. And they were right. Anyway, this campaign seems to have succeeded in a big way. Also, the largest funded Kickstarter project ever. Steampunk Rally Fusion. This one here is a game that I like a lot, actually. This one, I guess my only problem with this one is, so Steampunk Rally, I never played it. Well, I have now that I got Steampunk Rally Fusion, because it kind of includes Steampunk Rally or has the base rules, and then they just add a ton of stuff. And this is a case of them just adding so much stuff. Like, you start with a different character, and there are so many different characters and starting vehicles and different boards and all sorts of things. There's so much in the game that you don't need that much. But I mean, no one's gonna really cry about having extra stuff in the game for sure. This it's a fun racing game, dice drafting game. But speaking of fun racing games, Dodos riding Dinos. Now this one did pretty well. I'm actually surprised how well it did, because I don't remember us being that pumped about it. I remember me being interested in it because I like the idea of, Dodos riding dinos in a racing game. But this is probably the closest thing that we're going to get at this point to a Mario Kart board game. I really like this one. I believe they launched the expansion. There's the different minis here that come with the game, and we got ours painted too. My daughter painted them all, and they all look fantastic. It's a lot of fun. It's silly, moving around, flicking things at other cars. Just really worth your time. Day of Merchants 3. So Day of Merchants 3, Day of Merchants is a deck building game. It has these little animals in it. It has its own little town. This is the third edition of this game. And is this the Kickstarter that came with the big box? Yes, the complete series big box, which I then got. That was what I was interested in, to get this big box to put all three of these in the library, because they're all pretty much the same game. You can mix and match the different animals from them. You just pick a certain number of animals based on the number of players, mix them together, and you can mix them from all three sets together, and having them in one big box makes that easier. Maharaja, this is from Cranio Creations. This was a reprint of an older game. They changed the rules slightly. I think I actually like the rules of the original one slightly better. The look of the game is nice, although there's some pretty bad mess-ups, like these dials don't work very well. And there was a couple other problems. Cranio Creations occasionally has production problems with their games. But it does work. I put it in the Dice Tower library. This looks much cooler here, because these plastic pieces do not have this black on them. I wish they did. They actually look a little cheaper than I'd want them to look. They look like this, actually. And that's very good lighting in this picture, as you can see the etched raisings on them. But that being said, I do like the game Maharaja, so I'm glad it's back in print. Sea of Legends. This one raised $500,000. And I got to say, for me, this one was a disappointment. A disappointment that may undisappoint me. Because the rule book, this is a sandbox game where you're going to go around and do all sorts of things. Build a pirate ship, go off. You have a lover and you're trying to complete a quest for them. You have a nemesis and you're trying to complete quests for them. And then there's a big giant quest and there's monster quests and you can go discover things. And I like all that. It's an app assisted, but the problem, this game came with two major problems for me. Terrible rulebook, one of the worst rulebooks I've ever read. And an app, which was just a messy app, very problematic app. And so I've heard the app is almost fixed or has been fixed recently. So I haven't gone back to that. And I know that they redid the rulebook too. In fact, they did a follow-up to this just recently. So maybe I'll go back and give it to it because I feel like this could be one of my favorite games. As it is right now, it's not because, well, because of those two big problems I had. But I still liked it a lot. I liked everything about it. It's just that those things were problematic. So hopefully they got those things fixed and ironed out for the next time I play it. Kemet, Blood and Sand. Oh, Kemet's one of my favorite games that has ever come out. And this is from Matago. And this is the game for me that really put Matago on the map. But speaking of map, the board for this one, not great. This looks much better than that board does in real life. The board doesn't look great, but all the pieces besides the board are really neat. I like these tile displays. They make putting the tiles out easier. It's fun to have extra monsters. They did a little kit here in case you just wanted to play with the new stuff but keep your old game, and I thought that was pretty nice. They even had a stretch goal in here that people complained about with Cthulhu here, but you don't have to play with this. I don't know why people were so annoyed by this because who cares? And I'm not even a big Cthulhu fan, but I thought this was fun. So other than the play mat and the board not looking that great, the rest of it, though, I did enjoy a lot, and I'm happy to have it. Still one of my favorite games. Dice Miner. This is one of the, there are some times where I'm like, I speak for the people. In this case, I do not, because I really dislike Dice Miner. And you know what? I'm alone. So I accept that I'm just missing this one completely because it is so popular. So popular, as soon as I played it, I was like, well, this ain't going to Dice Tower Library. I went to a convention and immediately came back home and put it in the Dice Tower Library because I knew people would like it. In this game, you are rolling dice. You have a special ability to. You put them in this tray. There's what the tray looks like, the gray part. And then you're kind of pulling the dice out of there, and you can only pull one doesn't have dice on top of it. It's a neat thing, although it takes up half the box. I think it's overdone. And then you get these dice and you'll be rolling them, but it just feels very random to me. Again, lots of people disagree with me on this one. So just assume that I'm wrong, a safe assumption, and enjoy it. But that's good. MiniGolf Designer. Now this one I was really interested in because I like tile laying games, and the idea of building a tile laying game to put out a miniature golf course is really cool. But this one missed the mark for me slightly. I think it's fine for the most part, but it's two problems. One, it had terrible art in-game. The game on the box cover is done by a different person who did the cards, and the cards were just terribly done. That being said, I think they redid that because I was not the only person to say it. I also felt there was way too many scoring things going on here. The idea of building this miniature golf course is really neat, but there's a lot of different scoring things going on, so it takes it from being a light game to having to check a lot of things. But still, look how neat this course looks. That looks really cool, and I like that concept. And so, yeah, I think if you like the idea of miniature golf, this would be something you would enjoy. Or for those of you down south, putt-putt. Yeah, see that artwork there? Oh, so terrible. But they redid it, I think. Stop the Train. This is another really terrible game, unfortunately. I was really excited about this one. The idea here, you have a train track, there's a train barreling down this train track, and it's kind of a social deduction game where everyone has something different. One person wants to stop the train. Well, several people want to stop the train. One person wants to run the train into Paris, this rogue here. One person just wants to get off the train. And so all that sounds really cool, but it doesn't play that way. Almost all the cards just keep speeding the train up. So for those of you trying to stop the train, you often don't really even have much of an option. It just doesn't come together well at all. I really dislike this one. And Merchants of the Dark Road is the last one we're looking at here. This is a game from Elf Creek Games. I did not like this one as much. Mike enjoyed it more. I think it looks cool. The components are fantastic. And I don't even have the Super Deluxe components. We just have the regular Deluxe. There's like different levels. But it looks great. It functions well as a game. I understand how the game works. You're collecting different things and then going off of missions. It's basically collect and then turn stuff in to get points. That's an oversimplification. But again, Mike DeLisio really enjoyed this one. And so I think if you're a big fan of the games from Elf Creek, this would fit in that line, and I think you might enjoy this one. So there you go. And that, I believe, folks, is the different Kickstarters we're taking a look at. So a lot of different Kickstarters. Obviously, Frosthaven being the biggest one in this batch, but a lot of interesting ones. I think this is the first time where, in a while, yep, every single one of these I have received. So that's a good thing. And Kickstarters just keep coming in every day. So, all right, I'll see you the next time I do this. I'll do this about on a monthly basis, just taking a look at ones that I've backed. But until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Kickstarter Look Back on the Dice Tower.